definitely gonna be in the league, and just being successful.
LaMelo Ball and Julian Newman. Two names, one huge beef. Every time one guy moves, fans drag the other one back in, and right now, things are louder than ever. This started as a simple question, who's the better prodigy? But it grew into something way bigger. Two reality TV empires, two family brands, viral moments that just won't go away, and two careers that ended up worlds apart. There's way more to this story than the highlight clips show you, and once you see the whole thing, this rivalry hits different. Before the rivalry, there were just two kids already famous across the country. LaMelo Ball grew up in Chino Hills, California, the youngest Ball brother. By middle school, people were already talking about him. Julian Newman from Orlando, Florida, was dribbling like a pro before he could barely walk. His dad Jamie coached him from day one, and clips of tiny Julian embarrassing bigger kids spread everywhere. Both boys pulled in crowds that grown pros would kill for. Both were basketball famous before college was even a thought. Two prodigies, two families, two brands blowing up at the same time. A rivalry was bound to happen, and one big shift made it possible. In the late 2010s, YouTube, Instagram, Ball is Life, and Overtime changed everything. High school hoops became content with stars, drama, and die-hard fans. Highlights that used to reach a few scouts now got millions of views. One crossover, one no-look pass, one buzzer beater could turn a 15-year-old into a star overnight. LaMelo and Julian were the biggest names this new world made, and the internet loved to argue who's better, who's more talented, who's really gonna make it. Their games were different enough to spark debate, but close enough to keep people guessing. Julian played point guard with wild confidence, like his size didn't matter at all. Watching him break ankles in the open floor felt impossible for someone his height. LaMelo, even as a kid, saw the floor like a grown pro. His passes were weird, in a good way. His vision was the kind coaches try to teach for years and barely ever pull off. Two totally different types of prodigy, and an internet obsessed with picking a winner. The Balls didn't wait around for anyone else to tell their story. They told it themselves. Ball and the Family dropped on Facebook Watch in 2017 and blew up fast. It showed LeVar, his wife Tina, and their three sons, LiAngelo, Lonzo, and LaMelo, like never before. Fans watched LaMelo train. They watched LeVar talk big. They watched the whole family chase fame in real time. The show was loud and controversial, and that controversy kept ratings high. To millions of viewers, LaMelo wasn't just a prospect anymore. He was a character in a real family drama. The Newmans hit back with their own show, Hello Newmans, made with Overtime, gave the same behind-the-scenes look but into Julian's world. It followed Julian, Jamie, and the family through training, daily life, and the pressure of raising a kid who was famous before his teens. Jamie had built Julian's game from scratch, and the show showed just how deep that bond ran. Where Ball and the Family leaned on LeVar's big personality, Hello Newmans felt quieter and more personal, but the pattern was clear. Two families, two shows, two young stars, with fans deciding who represented the future. That pattern is what made this feel personal. Fans didn't just argue about jump shots, they argued about LeVar versus Jamie, Ball and the Family versus Hello Newmans, one family's way versus the others. Comment sections went on forever. YouTube channels made whole videos comparing the two. Basketball talk and family drama became one conversation, and everyone wanted to know which kid was actually going to turn all this hype into something real. To answer that, you have to look at their bodies. Julian stood about 5'5". His game always said size doesn't matter, but the rest of basketball wasn't buying it. He was small in a sport built around size. LaMelo, on the other hand, kept growing in ways scouts didn't expect. By his late teens, he stood 6'7", tall enough to see over defenses, athletic enough to finish at the rim, skilled enough to run the point while also rebounding and switching on defense. Two players heading in opposite directions. Eventually, those paths were going to collide on the court. That collision happened in 2019, Spire Academy versus Downey Christian. Fans had waited years for this moment. Online arguments, podcasts, debates, all building up to this one game. And when it finally happened, expectations were sky high. It wasn't close. Spire crushed Downey 117-80. And LaMelo dropped a triple-double, showing exactly why NBA scouts already loved him. His passing set guys up, his size let him rebound like a big man, his scoring came from everywhere on the floor. He didn't just beat the other team, he made them look like they were playing a different sport. Julian still played his game, aggressive, fearless, refusing to back down. But the problems were obvious. Spire's roster was bigger and stronger everywhere. Julian's signature moves kept running into defenders who were simply too big and too ready. For a lot of fans watching, this game confirmed what they already feared. The gap between LaMelo and Julian was bigger than the hype train had ever admitted. The internet exploded right after the final buzzer. Clips spread fast, reaction videos dropped within hours, podcasters jumped in. Channels that had argued LaMelo versus Julian for years suddenly changed their tone. Nobody was calling the rivalry dead, but everyone agreed something had shifted. LaMelo didn't just win the debate that night, he made the debate look small compared to who he really was. But it didn't stop there. Before the South Beach Clips even existed, there was another matchup fans forget about, the Grind Session All-Star Scrimmage, filmed by Ball is Life. No score, no stakes, just the best young players on one court. What made it unforgettable wasn't the game, it was LaMelo's mouth. He talked trash the entire time, aimed right at Julian. The clip spread instantly. LaMelo had already proven himself on the court, and now he made sure everyone knew it out loud too. Beating someone is one thing, beating them while trash-talking the whole time is another. The internet never lets a story rest, and one more viral moment was coming. Footage from a South Beach pickup game showed LaMelo and Julian sharing the court again, this time with no rules, no structure, just raw basketball. Pickup ball strips away everything fake and shows who really controls the game, and the clips that came out of it kept the debate alive even after Spire already seemed to settle it. The footage showed the contrast in the rawest way possible. Julian attacked the rim the same way he always had, fearless, relentless, never backing down. LaMelo looked almost relaxed, like the game was too easy for him. Blocked shots, smooth defense, that calm energy, those became the most replayed clips from the whole event. Reaction channels broke it down frame by frame. One pickup game turned into another chapter of this never-ending story. Why did these clips travel so far? Because the internet loves contrast. LaMelo's ease and Julian's fire were the perfect opposite images, two totally different basketball mindsets side by side. Creators knew this would blow up, and they were right. It gave people exactly what they wanted: reaction, argument, and the feeling that they'd just seen something big. Then came a moment that had nothing to do with basketball and somehow became the biggest talk of the whole rivalry. Julian's sister, Julian Newman, a big content creator herself, asked LaMelo on Instagram to follow her back. His reply? 3 words: "I don't run it," meaning someone else managed his account. It went viral in hours, racking up millions of views. What made it hit so hard was how cold and unbothered he sounded. To LaMelo's fans, it was peak LaMelo. To Newman fans, it felt like a slap dressed up as an excuse. Jaden later said it was staged, which only made people argue more. Staged or not, the damage was done. "I don't run it" became a catchphrase, a 3-word answer to who LaMelo thought was really relevant. What happened after is where this story really matters. LaMelo took a path nobody expected. Instead of college or the usual route, he went overseas. He played pro ball in Lithuania with BC Vytautas Prienai alongside his brothers. Then he went to Australia, playing against grown men in the NBL before he even turned 19. That experience changed his game completely. He learned to read pro defenses. He learned to pace himself. He learned to lead when the size gap wasn't as huge anymore. By the 2020 NBA draft, LaMelo wasn't just a highlight reel anymore. He had real pro experience behind him. The Charlotte Hornets picked him 3rd overall. He won Rookie of the Year in 2021. He made the All-Star team. He became the face of a franchise. A kid who once went viral in high school games was now, without question, an NBA star. Julian's path went the opposite way, right when LaMelo's took off. Despite having one of the biggest fan bases in youth basketball history, Julian never got drafted. The pro career people expected never came the normal way. Instead, he did something only possible in today's world. He built a career straight from his platform. Content, brand deals, commentary, and business built on the audience he already had became his real job. He kept playing and competing, but his real arena became the camera, not the court. The fame that made him famous became the business itself. This split deserves respect, not judgment. LaMelo showed what happens when internet fame is backed by real elite growth. His overseas grind and his body turned him into a top NBA talent. Julian showed something just as real, that early fame handled the smart way can become a whole career outside the usual sports path. Both men built something big, just totally different things. Why do people still call this a beef? It's not really about who won, it's about everything around it. The reality shows, the loud dads, the viral clips that kept coming, and fan bases who took it personal. The internet turns competition into an ongoing story, and LaMelo versus Julian had everything needed to keep that story alive. There was never a clean ending, no final moment where one side gave up, just data points, the Spire blowout, the South Beach clips, the draft, the Rookie of the Year season, and different fans picked different points to hold on to. That disagreement is exactly what keeps this rivalry alive online. The dads were huge in this story. LeVar Ball was unlike anything basketball had seen before, a father who knew controversy brings attention, and attention brings opportunity. His big talk, his fights with the media, his big baller brand, his control over the family's image, all of it brought coverage money couldn't buy. LeVar made the Balls impossible to ignore. Jamie Newman worked differently. Quieter, more careful in public, but just as important behind the scenes. He coached Julian since he was a little kid, built the early hype that made him famous, and used the overtime partnership to put the Newmans on the map. Both dads understood something huge. In modern sports, the story around the player can matter just as much as how they play, and both pushed that story hard. The reality shows made this rivalry hit even harder. Ball in the Family and Hello Newmans didn't just show basketball, they made fans care about the people, watching a mom worry or a dad coach through frustration or brothers compete in the driveway. That's not stats, that's real life, and real life builds loyalty way stronger than highlights ever could. Both shows built fan communities who felt like they knew these families personally, who cared about the outcome for reasons that had nothing to do with basketball. That emotional bond is what kept this whole thing alive for so long, and social media kept feeding it. YouTube videos revisiting the Spire game still get big views today. TikTok creators who were little kids back then are just discovering this rivalry now and starting the debate all over again. Podcasts still compare these two careers. Instagram history pages still bring up the matchup. This rivalry became something rare, content that never gets old, no matter when someone finds it. The two fan bases never agreed on anything. LaMelo fans point to the draft, Rookie of the Year, the All-Star nods. Julian fans say the NBA was never the only way to measure success, that Julian built something real on a path nobody had ever walked before. Neither side is totally wrong, and that's exactly why the debate never dies. Both careers teach real lessons. LaMelo's rise proves that physical growth often decides who makes it and who doesn't, and that there's more than one road to the NBA. His time overseas gave him a level of readiness high school ball just can't offer. Julian's story shows how tricky early internet fame really is. It can open real doors, but it also creates expectations the normal sports path was never built for. His move into business and content proves something true today. Your audience is your asset, and what you do with it decides your future. The systems both families built never disappeared, they just changed shape. The Ball family's fame fed straight into LaMelo's value in the NBA. Julian family's overtime deal gave Julian a foundation most players never get. Both families bet big on visibility early. Both are still cashing in on that bet. And their impact on the next generation is still growing. They leaned into fame at a time when most young athletes were told to avoid it, and the kids who grew up watching them took that lesson to heart. Now, being good on camera is just as important in youth basketball as being good in the gym. At its core, this rivalry was a clash between two visions of basketball in the social media age, two families who saw basketball as a doorway to something bigger, two ways to build a brand. One led to NBA stardom, one led to a whole different kind of digital career. Two shows, two fan bases, and the competition that lived in comment sections just as much as it lived on the court. LaMelo became an NBA star. Julian became a businessman. Both outcomes make total sense given what each one built, and both prove just how much the internet shapes what we think is possible, and how fast those beliefs can flip when reality kicks in. Fans keep coming back to this story for one reason: it never really ended. No rematch, no final showdown, just moments. The Spire blowout, the South Beach clips, two totally different career paths, each telling part of the story without ever finishing it. The what-if questions never go away. What if Julian had grown 6 more inches? What if LaMelo never left the US and never got that pro experience before the draft? What if both guys had taken the same path all the way through college? Nobody has the answers, so the internet keeps asking. The LaMelo Ball versus Julian Newman rivalry is still one of the biggest stories of the social media basketball era, not just because of the greatness it created, and it did create true greatness in LaMelo's case, but because it shows exactly what happens when talent, family, media, and the internet collide around two young athletes at once. Some stories mean something because they end. This one means something because it never really did. So what do you think? Does Julian deserve more credit for turning fame into a real career on his own terms? Or was there only ever one possible winner here? Drop your take below. And if you're not subscribed yet, hit that button now, because on this channel we go deeper into the stories the highlights never fully tell.